Hey everyone, happy Monday to you. I hope that everyone is having a beautiful, fantastic, and amazing start already to your Monday, as well as to the rest of your week too. My name is Jamaica Flowers, and I am the founder, the creator, and also the producer of the Goddess Unbound No Bitch Here project. So if you haven't had an opportunity already, please make sure that you visit the website, which is, the link is in the bio. So make sure that you go to it right now, and make sure that you take a look at the full project, the full documentary, and all of the photos, and make sure that you take an opportunity to understand the mission, the vision, and the entire purpose of why I have created this project, which is to address this specific word right here, this word, and how it is so heavily prevalent, how it's so aggressively used, and how this word is literally everywhere within our society. And we're going to talk about that today. So I would like to address a couple of recent issues that I have seen in viewing two new television shows that have recently premiered over the last week, in addition to a film that I saw on Saturday over the weekend. So I want to talk about these specific issues, and moreover how the word bitch, B-I-T-C-H, is used like within the first couple of minutes of each of these television programs, in addition to the film too. So I know that last week everyone was super excited for the premiere of these two new shows that have come out recently. The first is Queen Sugar, which I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed. I'm already ready for like 3rd, 4th, 5th, 100th episode, so I'm really waiting for it right now. But also a lot of people were really excited to see the premiere and the debut of the other television show, which is Atlanta. Now, personal bias right here, I'm from Atlanta originally, the real Atlanta. So whenever I see anything that references my hometown, I'm always interested to know what exactly they're gonna do, okay? But aside from that, in viewing both of these shows, I noticed that within each of them, within like the first couple of minutes, the very first couple of minutes, the word bitch is used immediately as like a way to degrade, to dehumanize, and to cut down some woman who was a character, and really like a not even a supporting character, but like just a sort of a bystander within both of these television shows. So you can take a look at it if you haven't already seen the show Atlanta, and then also Queen Sugar as well. So you'll see that first in Atlanta, there's an opening scene where there's this altercation and all of that. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but there's a woman who's the girlfriend of one of the characters within the show, and there's an altercation, there's an argument that ensues, and immediately one of the male characters immediately calls her a bitch within like the first minute and a half to 2 minutes, right? So that's like a go-to word, and it's just, after that I couldn't really watch it anymore, in addition to the aggressive usage of the N-word too, and that's a whole other issue, completely different issue. But that was something that I noticed right away within the show Atlanta. And then now switching over to the show Queen Sugar, which is executively produced by the amazing Ava DuVernay, and also Auntie Oprah, and a whole lot of other really brilliant people. And the storyline is very gripping, it's very compelling, and really fantastic. And it's going to be, I know, one of my favorite shows. And I don't watch a lot of television or television programs, but this is something that I will support, I will watch. But again, something that I noticed is that in the scene with the brother who's on the show, one of the leading characters, and I'm not going to go into detail about the storyline if you haven't already seen it. If you have, then you know about it. But he goes to a convenience store, wants to get some money to take care of his son, and there's a female clerk or an attendant of this convenience store, and to ensure that she abides by his aggressive demeanor, or his demands rather, he yells at her and says, you know, give up the money, B-I-T-C-H. And so once again, it's just kind of like, wow, like this is an ongoing trend ongoing. Every single time within a television show or a film or someplace on social media, this is a go-to word, right? And it's something that we really need to start to pay attention to and ask the question, why is this word used all the time? It's like, it's such a knee-jerk response and it's such a knee-jerk reaction that it's now background music, to the point where for those of us who aren't paying attention to it, it's commonplace, you know, and it doesn't have that razor quality anymore to it like it once did a couple of decades ago or a few decades ago. So the other source of media that I was watching over the weekend is the film Sisters with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. And I decided, you know, just to give it a go. Saturday night, I wasn't going out. I never do. So I decided to just watch something, you know, online. So it premiered on HBO, and I watched it. And literally within the first 2 minutes, the word bitch is used. And throughout the entire film, just watching it over and over again, this word was used only by women. Right? So you have Tina Fey, who's a headliner, of course. You have Amy Poehler, who's a headliner. And then you have all of these other famous comedians, you know, that we're all very familiar with, predominantly women, who are in the film as well. And every time the word is used, it's always by a woman. So I thought that was really interesting too. And the word, I think I even counted too, because it's just on my radar. This word was used like 10 or 11 times in the entire film, and it was used consecutively, like back to back to back to back. So I'm posing this today, and I'm doing this video today to see, number one, does this affect you? Like when you watch it, when you watch these television programs, or when you listen to music in your car or on any kind of device that you have, or when you watch these films, is this annoying to you as it is to me? Is this a concern to you as it is to me as well? And if it is, then list below in the comments. I want you to list why it's a concern for you, why it's bothersome to you, and also how this is sort of creating and building space and building the world around us within our daily experiences, right? So that's one. The second reason why I'm doing this video is because this is a problem, right? This is an ongoing concern. This is an ongoing problem in regards to how this word, which is inherently a slur. It is a slur, and it's gender-based, and it's used specifically to downgrade, to dehumanize, and to oppress women. Only women, right? Now, of course, the word is used to degrade men, but it's usually when a man is quote unquote being too much of a woman, or acting too womanly or too effeminate, right? So when you strip all of that away, it's still dehumanizing women, right? So that's the second reason why I'm doing this. And then third, which is to call attention to the prevalence of this word and how it's inserted like in every single facet of our society. So much so to the point where we're just now so comfortable with it, right? And the reason I think why this word has become so acceptable is because, and I'm gonna just be completely honest, is because people don't give a damn about women. That's just the bottom line. People don't care at all about women. We as women, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our intellect, everything about us is completely devalued. And so it doesn't matter to the masses. It doesn't matter to the powers that be that actually own, produce, and operate and create content. It doesn't matter to them the fact that this word strips away all of the humanity specifically about women, because in their eyes, we as women, we don't mean anything, right? We're just objects. We're just mere objects for consumption and production. That's it. Consumption towards other people, right? Or we're just here to be consumed, rather. And then we're mere objects for production, meaning that we're solely here to produce sex, and we're solely here to produce people, and we're solely here to produce labor, and that's it. And essentially provide some sort of perverse form of entertainment as well. But that in itself, that's a video for a later time, later date, but it's still very, very important. So one of the cases that a lot of people try to make, or one of the arguments that people try to attempt to make anyway, is that the reason why it's acceptable, or that it's okay to use words like this word here, or the N-word, or any other negatively charging words, is that for those that are writers and producers and creators of specific types of media, whether it's film, television, music, anything like that, is that the storyline that they're generating, the narrative that they're trying to create, they want to ensure that it is an accurate reflection of the characters or the neighborhood or the culture that they're specifically focusing on within their particular industry, right? And while I do understand that, the question then becomes, at what point are we ever going to get off of this hamster wheel of oppression, right? Because if we constantly use the argument that, well, I'm using the N-word because it's an accurate depiction of the culture, the society that African Americans come from, which is very erroneous, and it generalizes all Black people, all African Americans, right? Well, then at some point you have to stop and say, well, wait a minute. If we're ever going to abolish this word, then we got to stop using it. Right? Some people may say, well, you know, we're telling the story, we're telling someone's story or several someone's story about their daily living experiences, or a situation that they experience where this word was used, or perhaps we're telling a story about women being really comfortable with reappropriating or embracing or reclaiming this word here, right? And while I understand that, while I get that, what people have failed to do is they have failed to stop. They have failed to take a step back and understand that there are larger forces at play here. And at some point, each and every one of us has to understand that when you create content, whether you're a writer, a filmmaker, a producer, someone creating videos on YouTube, or creating social media, or whether you're creating clothing or anything like that, if you're a creator in any sort of capacity, then you are responsible, directly responsible, and have to always be held accountable for the content that you're creating. Because no longer can we sit here and say, well, you know, it's society's, you know, issue, or society is the sole responsible party for the way that the world is. Well, guess what? We are society. Each and every one of us as individual people, we are society. And that means that we all have to be accountable and take responsibility for the words that we say on a daily basis. We have to be held accountable and responsible for the thoughts that we have, that then directly turn into actions and behaviors and patterns, and then it becomes a culture, and then it becomes a mindset and an ethos. So all of us have to be held accountable for that. And the creators of these new television programs that I spoke about earlier, and the creators and the writers and the producers of this content within certain films and other sources of media, then you also have to be held accountable and responsible too. Because when you strip away all of this stuff, then the source and the origin of this word in particular, because that's what this project, the Goddess Unbound No Bitch Here project, focuses on, the source of this word is derived from the hatred of women. That's the truth. That's the bottom line, right? And if you go through history and you look at the origins of how this word came about, it was specifically used and designed to denigrate, dehumanize, and oppress women, specifically women who went against the status quo, or women who didn't fit into this sort of very narrow box of what a woman was supposed to be. So if you were a woman that were outspoken, or spoke against tyranny and oppression, then this is what they would call you. And especially during the Dark Ages, when Christianity was really used as a way to, and as a weapon to isolate people into certain categories, then this word in particular, the history of this word is that it was used solely to alienate women who were perceived to be sexually deviant. And we all know that that means that it could have been a woman who maybe she had one button that was unbuttoned, or a woman who was never married, or a woman who she embraced her sexuality, whatever that meant. So this word carries with it a lot of destructive energy. And the more that we continue to use it, then what we're doing is we're resurrecting that hatred that this word derived from. That's what we do. And so each and every one of us, if you're using this word, and if the word this here, if the word bitch is a part of your vocabulary and your ongoing mindset, if every time you become upset with someone and that's your go-to word, then you need to be held responsible. And this is not punitive in any sort of way, but what I'm saying is that this word is very destructive. And as we know, our words have energy. We are energy. And so the words that we use, energy creates. So we have to be responsible for what we're putting out here into space, what we're putting out into the ethers of our universe, what we say to one another, and also what we say to ourselves too. Because if you're a woman, and anytime you do something where you feel like you made a mistake, right? And you're like, oh, you stupid bitch, right? Or if you say something and you're trying to, I don't know, uplift yourself or falsely uplift yourself in some kind of way, and you say something like, yeah, I'm such a bitch, right? Then you're resurrecting the patriarchy and the sexist origins that this word came from. So just think about that and just be aware of that as well. And also with these television shows, with these films and everything that's being created, it is perpetuating the abuse of women. It's perpetuating, and it's a part of the continuation of abuse towards women. And we have to get into that mindset. We have to reclaim our authentic identities and our authentic selves. And this word right here, this word is not our truth. So I want to know your thoughts on this issue. I want to know if you all have actually been aware of, or if you observed how the word bitch was such a go-to word within the first minute and a half to 2 minutes within each of these shows. So the show Atlanta, the show Queen Sugar, and also within the film Sisters as well, with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. So let me know your thoughts. List your comments below, and let's get this conversation going. You know, this is, again, I don't feel like I need to say this, but I'm just gonna say it. This is not to attack anyone. This is not to point fingers or anything like that. This is to start a discussion that has needed to happen for a very, very, very long time. And I just feel charged with this energy to just talk about it, and to get to a place where we can all hold ourselves as individual beings from the universe, from the cosmos. We can hold ourselves responsible so that we can be better, because inherently we are better. But what we're doing is we're choosing to be less than. So let's be better, let's be great, let's be fantastic, and let's just start to build a society, rebuild a society, and rebuild communities where we start to speak love and positivity and affirmative language into our world, as opposed to using these sort of like phrases that have now become acceptable, because they're not. And we can be better. We can definitely be better. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I thank you so much for taking the time to engage in this community, which is the Goddess Unbound No Bitch Here project. Thank you so much. Make sure that you share the video. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and do all that other fun stuff that the YouTube gurus say. So thank you all so much. I hope you have a fantastic Monday, and keep an eye out for some other videos later this week and the following weeks as well. Thank you.